Hey everybody, welcome to the Getting Outdoors with BDL YouTube live channel. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We have got a big show. This is the Getting Outdoors podcast, episode number 96. And we are very, very honored today to have with me and Laura A.G., Director of the Wilcox Area Chamber of Commerce, Pam Swanner, Director of the Alabama Black Belt Adventures, and both of my dear friends. I would just want to welcome Christopher Joe with the Joe Farms, who has had the most publicity, the news coverage as anybody in the Alabama Black Belt for the last few months. Joe, we really do appreciate you being here today. And the way we're going to start this thing out, Joe, I just want, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you Joe. I want to call you Chris. Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself and this magnificent program you started back in 2018.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you all this wonderful afternoon, and I'm just excited to get a chance to speak. And every time I'm asked, I try to come and say my piece, and that's mainly what's been helping us. It's just those that want to ask about what we've been doing. I'm more than welcome. So, my name is Christopher Joe. I am third generation Black Angus cattle farmer out of New Bern, Alabama. So my father, he basically took over the property from my grandfather, which is, we used to do vegetable farming. Now we're strictly Black Angus cattle. So I came up with the idea in talks with a couple of people, and I reached out to the University of Alabama's tourism department, and I had a gentleman to come down to the farm and rode the property with me. And he was like, "Well, Chris, I think you can do some kind of tourism things down here." So he threw out some ideas, and one of the things he threw out was birding. And I was just like, "Okay, you mean just bird watching? Is that what you're referring to?" He said, "Yeah, it's a big industry, man. People are going, traveling other countries strictly to watch birds." And I'm like, I don't know, is that gonna work? So he said, "Yeah, just look into it." So I reached out to a one of the board members at the Alabama Audubon, and funny thing was, they've been watching me and my dad do hay from the highway for years, and never got a chance to kind of connect with us. So when I reached out to him, it just was amazing because they were just laughing like, "We've been trying." He said, "We've been playing paparazzi with y'all while y'all were cutting hay and the swallowtail kites were flying around." He said, "We've been watching y'all." So I rode the executive director and then one of the members. They rode with us, and they just said, "Chris, how about we just start bringing some of our members with us, and let's see how this goes." And that was, we met in I think it was August. It was hot. Oh my God, it was hot. So we met, and then we started putting something together roughly in December of 18. And then February the 14th was our first tour. And we had almost, I think, 20 to 30 people from their group to come, and they just enjoyed it. I mean, we saw some of everything. And I think that was where it started to click at, I think we have something here. And the amount of, I don't think the amount of work it was so great that we could make this something that we can do on any other, any day. So my dad, he's real open to it. So I kind of pitched it to him. I was like, "Well, we have this property, we have the bird habitat, we have all kind of wildlife. How about we just start opening it up to some of the people that see if they want to come?" And every time I've said, "Hey, we're having a birding tour or something," I get people coming. I mean, they just want to come. They come from Birmingham. I had some Atlanta visitors. I had even one from South Carolina. Just got off the phone and not too long ago, about an hour ago, from another organization that saw the story that we did with Audubon on their fall birding talks, and she wants to bring her birding group. So I'm thinking now we're getting to the point where the story is, it has legs and it's moving across the country. People are finding out about us. And like I said, you've been watching me for a while, and I've been trying to be consistent with my message. And I'm just glad that you reached out to me. So started in October 18. Today we've had at least 300 plus people that has come to tour with us.
And now, not only that, you're now getting recognized by the press. I know WSFA TV's been there twice. You did a hiking with Haley. Sally Pitts was there the other day with her program. The
Right.
Montgomery Advertiser has written an article, and nobody promotes the black belt any better than the queen of the black belt, Miss Pam Swanner. Pam, this has got to be a feather in your hat. This guy right here. Cut your mic on. You still ain't on.
There we go. All right. I was involved years ago when I was in North Alabama tourism with the development of the North Alabama Birding Trail. And I don't really call myself a birder, but I enjoy the outdoors, and I know the effect of having that kind of an asset in your region and what it can do to the communities that you work with. You know, the influx of new dollars that come into the community, and that's what this is all about. And you talk about, I mean, I am so excited for the Joe family. I mean, we're talking about USA Today a couple of weeks ago, and then it went across the AP wire, and it has just gone everywhere. It has exploded. And hosting these type of people in the region, as I mentioned, does bring in new dollars, and we're seeing visitors that we have never seen before. And we all know that the Black Belt region, the natural resources are our economic development tool. You know, we don't have the smokestacks like other communities in the state of Alabama do. So it's our natural resources, and we have an abundance of it. And it takes people like the Joe family to make something happen. And I'm so excited about that. And I hope that there are other families throughout the region that take note and follow suit. You know, we work with a lot of hunting lodges throughout the Black Belt region, and we've talked to them over the years about opening their doors up to birders, but they perceive it to be, until the Joe family brought attention to this in Alabama Audubon, I had always assumed personally that birding was best done in the fall months and the spring months during migration. But what I'm finding out is in the Black Belt region, the birding is best in the summer months. So the hunting lodges they felt like it was going to be a conflict with their hunters and their fishermen that were coming in. So that's why they never really pursued that. So the Joe family has put a totally different light on it for us.
They really have. And you mentioned a while ago the Alabama birding trails. It is 8 different Alabama birding trails with 270 locations in Alabama. I don't know how to break it down, but we do have a black belt Piney Woods birding trail.
We do, and I've got the stats on that, or the numbers on that. In the Black Belt region, there are 32 sites, and the Joe Farm is in the West Alabama Birding Trail, which has a total of 28 sites, but there are 7 sites in Hale County. And then there are 2 other birding trails within the Black Belt region that we have defined as our footprint. It includes the Wiregrass and the Black Belt, the Piney Woods, and the West Alabama. So
it is something, and birding is something. Me and Joe were talking about this, Pam, before you came on. I tell all the hunters and the fishermen and anybody that loves outdoors that thinks they don't know anything about birds, they are birders and just don't know it. Because if you sitting in a deer stand, if you're sitting in that boat fishing, and a bird flies over, you're looking at birds whether you call yourself a bird or not, because it's such a diversified variety of birds coming through here all year long. Wouldn't you agree with that, Chris?
I certainly would, and let's just like what you were saying, it makes it to where you're having people come down multiple times. We've had return visitors that tour with us almost every season, and I get return people, and they says, "Hey, we're coming back again because we want to see what winter birds come in." And also, I've had them teach certain classes. The Audubon has taught at least 2 of their classes on our property. So they did a winter birding by ear, and they also did a summer bird count. So those type of not necessarily events that we put on, but the fact that we're a site that they can come and spend as much time as they want to get the information they need or to teach a class. Because it's not like, well, I can only go in this hour, they're going to close. They can come and stay the entire day.
Yeah.
And so many people just say, hey, I just want to come down. One gentleman from Huntsville came at 6 in the morning, and I think he stayed till right around 9 to 10. But he said that was, and he saw his target bird. It was a summer tanager, and
Yeah.
we breed for him, and he was completely blown away. So, yes, birding can be with anybody, and the hunters can appreciate that, because a lot of their management that they do on their property related to the planting food plots, especially you're putting clover in, you're attracting different kind of birds. Turkeys are going to be there often. And then if you start to say, well, I want to do some native grasses, that's going to attract different insects and pollinators. That's going to bring in different birds. So you're setting table for the birds, even, not even being aware of it.
And before we get into the birdie, I got a heap of bird questions to ask you, Laura. As a director of a chamber, how excited are you to add this to your place? Because we have at least 2 different sites. I know we have the Roland Cooper State Park, the G's Bend Ferry on the other side, terminal on the other side of the river, are designated Alabama birding trails. But there's so many more places like Hollis Ferry, like New Bridgeport Landing. That should be a birding trail. How excited are you as a chamber director to be able to add this to your arsenal of attractions for our area?
It's like shooting a cannon. But yeah, the birding trail, this is new information for me to learn from people like you, Chris, and Miss Pam. I kind of follow y'all's suit and seeing what is becoming more and more targeted for economic development, especially for rural county areas. And I think that this is just a perfect example of that. But yeah, I'm not as knowledgeable. So learning and sitting in on these kind of interviews with you all is what's helping me learn as I go. So it is exciting, especially for places like Wilcox County. And where are y'all located at again, Chris? Y'all are in
we're in Hale County.
Hale County, that's right. But places like that, I mean, we can really take advantage of outdoor recreation as a marketing tool for bringing visitors into our area. And just whenever they come in, it just helps our own economy. So I think it's really exciting. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what me and Chris want to do today. We were talking before we went on live. Our goal today is to see every kid in the Alabama Black Belt with a pair of binoculars around their neck looking at birds. So I got a couple of questions. Let's get into it. I know, Joe, the swallow, I don't know why I keep calling you Joe. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Chris, it's just stuck on my head. That's your family. So I guess I know the swallowtail kites and the Mississippi kites are the 2 birds that really started this thing when you got to cutting hay. But what is the one bird that your visitors mostly want to see when they come? Would you say it is the swallowtail kite and the Mississippi kites?
It's the swallowtail kites. Like I said, the conversation I just had before I came on with you guys was that the group from Atlanta saw the video and was told that we had kites, and they said they drove for hours one time to go to a site that they heard that there were. And she said the fact that you guys can bring them in like that and just have them flying around, she said I've got to see that. So that's really like and that's what's on our logo, the swallowtail kite. So that's like our draw bird. But as far as the variety of birds, I mean, it varies so much. I mean, bald eagles, wood storks. We've had groups of pelicans fly over. I was home Wednesday. So after Sally, matter of fact, they saw. So we had 2 waves of pelicans go overhead. and it's just you never can tell what's going to go or what you will see out there. So the target bird is swallowtail kites, but the variety that we have in on the same piece of property from one location to the next varies. So you got
Well, and I know a lot of you visitors, a lot of you birders that use these phone apps now to call up birds and get birds close where they can see them. I know it works well when you mentioned it a while ago with the summer tanagers, but do you ever see any scarlet tanagers on the Joe farm?
I'm imagining. I've had one gentleman that said because I've asked, because I've seen, like I said, the summer tanagers, you see them often, but he said the scarlet, for some reason, they're not coming down as far south. He said it seems like that line stops right of like at the Tuscaloosa north area is kind of where they kind of pan out at. Not to say that there aren't, but we haven't located any in his birding that far south. So if they do show up, trust me, I'll want to be the first to get a good picture of them. And I keep my camera around my neck, so I have a pair of binoculars and a camera, and I'm just trying to catch pictures. So a lot of the pictures that you see in my logo, I took those. So I kind of moonlight as a photographer too. So,
well, what is your bucket list bird to see? I know you got one.
bucket list bird is a painted bunting. And if I can see that, I will be set. I don't need another target bird at all.
Well, it is one in Montgomery as we speak. Donna Cooper. I don't know if you follow her on Facebook, but if you don't, you need to. Her name is Donna Cooper, and she's got one in Montgomery that comes to her feeder every day, and she puts a picture of him up every day.
Well,
beautiful bird.
her exactly.
And I tell you what's on my bucket list, and you got them on the Joe farm, I guarantee you, and that's a scissor tail flycatcher.
Yep. I've heard people say they've seen them, and I probably was on the other side of the property when they saw them. But yes, they definitely do, and I just want to see, them, and it's just the excitement that you get, that knowing that okay, there's a list of possible birds, and then you see those surprises that come up. A lot of times, the indigo bunting was the most. We saw a grouse beak one time while we were looking at the swallowtail kites. I mean, we were just sitting in the hayfield, and boom, here they come. And I'm like, a male and a female, and that was my first time seeing them. So
yeah, indigo buntings and the blue grosbeaks are here, and they are two. When they show up, it's just and the rose-breasted grosbeak too. When they show up, you know what you're looking at when you look at one of them.
Yeah.
Pam, what is your bird on? What's on your bucket list of a bird to identify?
Now, Big Daddy, I told you I wasn't a birder. I think they're all pretty. But I will say the day that I was at the Joe farm and witnessed those swallowtail, grabbing those insects as his dad was mowing is really a sight to see. And the day that I was there were storks too.
Yeah. What about you, Laura? What's on your bucket list of birds?
Yeah, all right. Hold on. I was just saying, I'm like Miss Pam. I'm still learning. Not too long ago. When was the Hawking Association in Roland Cooper?
That was the last weekend in February.
I loved that, and maybe that can be my bird that I would choose, is like some sort of red. What is it? Red wing.
Yeah, well, they had red wing hawks and they had Cooper hawks, and what that was the Alabama Hawking Association came down here and spent the weekend, had their annual meet and hunt where they hunt squirrels, go in the woods and hunt squirrels with wild hawks that they capture and train to hunt squirrels. Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. I would flip out. I've had a gentleman from the Raptor Center up in the Huntsville area that does that type of work, and he was this was prior to COVID thing, so we were trying to work out something where he brought one or two of his birds to come and do some hunt. So that right there is and I like to do events. I do the tours, but like make special events like the Kite Festival. That was a special. The fall birding one that we did, that was kind of like a special event. But to have other groups. And I think that's where Miss Laura and Miss Pam are the biggest help to people like me, is to go is to take what we have. They see what we have, package that, and start to reach out to those organizations that are looking for areas that, hey, can I come and do XYZ? Can I get this educational program
Yeah.
out into a way that where you can reach people that we may not know of? And I just want to hear from Ms. Laura, like what from a Chamber of Commerce, and I'm just now getting involved with our Hale County Chamber of Commerce, and they just got that up and running here. And I wanted to see what type of things that you were looking for, landowners that we can help with to kind of make y'all job a little easier.
For me, it's mostly just educating people, especially in Wilcox. I think, and I was at fault for this, is that sometimes we take for granted what we already have and don't recognize it as something that people like in Birmingham that you mentioned, and Atlanta, places in metropolitan areas, would travel to our rural areas and experience. So for me, from a chamber standpoint, it's just educating the people in Wilcox County that, like, hey, you see Christopher's story, understand that this is a possibility to make some of the things that we already have a tourist attraction, and just kind of create a business model as to how to make that successful. Because right now in Wilcox County, ours are mostly lodging areas like Roland Cooper State Park, and RV sites. But as far as like an interactive private property like the Joe Farm, we don't have anything that's similar to that. I don't believe that I know of. And if we did, I feel like I would know. But yeah, I'm fascinated by your story. So I think that that's important for us to interview and especially get out so that people in other areas like Wilcox can hear about it and have their wheels turning of, it may not necessarily be a birding trail like yours. It may be a bike trail or a hiking trail or something like that, where it is outdoor related. So I hope that answers your question. I don't know if it did or not.
In agritourism, as a whole, there's so much rural land in our area and farmland, and anything that's associated with birding, ecotourism, agritourism, anything like that will help these landowners to diversify their income and bring in a little more money to sustain them through the year.
And the market, Chris, I think you'll agree with me on this. The market is way bigger than you could ever think. I don't think anybody realizes how big a market it is for our natural resource assets, not only the birding, the fishing, the hunting, the native wildflowers. Our area is so diversified, and it's so many people. I tell this story all the time. It's people in high-rise buildings in downtown Memphis, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, Miami, Florida, New Orleans, Dallas, Texas, that are watching us right now and say, "Ooh, I wish we was down there looking at those birds, or down there catching those fish, or hunting those deer." And they don't mind coming here if we got something for them to access to our natural resources.
And I think that's where our reach, and that's what makes us so unique, is that, like what Miss Laura said, when I was asking around, I never heard of anybody doing anything like this. And so it's like, well, y'all the first one in the state that's making this kind of available. So it's like the magnitude of it, I'm still kind of grasping the magnitude of what we're doing. But I also see where this can be packaged and put into landowners' hands and like I said, I'm third generation. So I was fortunate enough to already grow up with this property in our family, that I can enjoy nature. I can just go home. And matter of fact, I was just down there. So I can enjoy it anytime I want to. But let's just say you have some kids that they don't have any grandparents that have land. They don't know anybody that has cows that let them come on their property and just watch. So now it's like, okay, Chris, you guys have this property. what can you do as a steward to kind of continue or to spark that, hey, I like the outdoors. There's so many jobs in the outdoors. Like my career, I'm a district conservationist. So I started my degree is in agribusiness management. So I went in with an agribusiness background, and I have a full-time career with the Department of Agriculture. So you can show kids that yes, you can do things outside and farm, and you still can be in a professional realm to where it's not, oh, you farming and immediately you think of a straw hat, old beat up tractor, some skinny cows. But when you come on our property and you see what we have, and you're like, that bull is humongous. It has like replicas of the bull. So it's like, well, how are you guys doing that? And then that's when you can introduce them into husbandry. You can go into a different breed of cattle. You can go into all kinds of avenues. Even the scientific realm. You can go into the how you grow your grass the best. So fertilizing and all those nutrient needs and how much forage your animal needs. So the magnitude of what we have and making it a demonstration site. And I also want to plug in Tuskegee University because they were the first university that kind of gave us some time, and they were there with Sally this past Wednesday, and making our site a demonstration site for their upcoming farmers conference. So now they're taking our farm and making an assessment to package and tell to other new and beginning farmers, like, okay, you want to get XYZ. So just off of the umbrella of birds, we're getting all kinds of stuff. So it's just not, like you said, it's just not the birds. There's so much forestry, what kind of trees, wildflowers, and also Cahaba River keepers, Mr. David that works with them. He's coming in and getting his canoe and going to pitch in the creek that we have that's borders our property. And me and him, I'm going to get in there. I'm going to get in one too. So we're going to do that. So canoeing, like you said, canoeing, biking, bird watching, nature walking, the list just goes on and on. So I'm excited.
Well, I want Pam to give you a lesson on dismounting a canoe. She
Miss Pam.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah, you could have talked all day long and not mentioned that, Big Daddy.
We went on a trip when who was it? Haley Sutton was. She came and Pam got in a canoe, and when she dismounted, she kind of took a rough fall. I wish I'd have had it on film.
Oh my God.
I stepped on that algae and my foot just had no traction whatsoever. I went down in a millisecond. But I wanted to touch base on something that Christopher was talking about, and it applies to me and Laura in our roles in promoting and marketing the region. We have the assets. We have those natural assets. We don't have the service. That is our challenge, is having people like the Joe family to service those tourism-related activities in our region. And that's what I hope, that there will be other landowners that take note of what the Joe family is doing, and we have others that are willing to open up their properties and get creative with some things on what they can do with their property. It doesn't have to be birding. It doesn't have to be canoeing if you've got a river. It can be if you've got crops that you grow. It could be agritourism related. I never will forget, probably about 15 years ago, there was an article in the New York Times, and in upstate New York, there was a farm that was offering on the weekend family events overnight, and the families would come there and they would milk cows, and they would go to the chicken coops and pick up the eggs, and they would go to the vegetable patch and pick the vegetables, and they were charging like $800 plus dollars per weekend per family to come do that, and people were doing it.
Oh yeah.
It helps as an educational tool, I would think, because it's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the biggest education out there is tourism, is travel.
Yeah. I do too.
And Chris, your farm is 200 acres, but for that landowner that just might have 20 acres, it's something he could do on that. It's not limited to how big a place you have, like hunting is.
And that's a perfect example of what I try to convey to even my landowners in my professional capacity. I try to convey that no matter the acreage, there is something that you can do on your property to attract something. And it's not as difficult as we try to make it out to be. It may take somebody that's already doing something that can say, oh, you only need to do XYZ, and you'll have it. Like on our property, the only input, and a lot of people say, oh man, how much did it cost and what inputs did you have to have in order to get the bird? How do you attract? And when I tell them I don't have anything but a tractor, bush hog, the only real expense I had was the trailer to haul people around on. And beside, they said, that's it. And I said, that is it. Everything else, the birds come because the habitat management that we do, they're there. And all we do is just observe. And once I can break it down that easy to them, and like I said, 20 acres, you can say, well, my property is wood areas. Okay, well, what can you do you need to do prescribed burning? Well, yeah. Hey, I work for an agency and we help cost assist on that stuff, not plugging them, but just to say there are avenues to where you don't have to pay 100% for stuff because we have practices that can help you do those things. So whether you need a thinning, prescribed burning, installing pollinator habitat, those practices like that may be all you need that's stopping you from having observation points. So whether you got a little 5-acre food plot, you can put somebody in a ground blind, and trust me, you come certain times of the morning, you're gonna get turkey, you're gonna get the deer coming, and be putting a feeder or two around, and there you have your own little habitat. So it's not that difficult. It's just trying to identify and assess what you have. So I'm thinking like with Miss Pam and Miss Laura, having somebody to assess what you're doing or what I have. And I talked myself into a job here next year, consulting with one lady. She saw the video and the story in the Tuscaloosa News and said, hey, can you come to my property? I would like to. And I'm like, uh-oh, now I done talked myself into some stuff. So, but basically what I'm doing is taking what I already know from my education, from what we've been doing on the farm, and just trying to evaluate what a person is doing and what we can do. So it's not difficult. It's just trying to find those people that can make it plain, and I think we're on the right track.
I do too, Chris, and I love to use this term in the Alabama Black Belt. I think what you have done, my friend, is kick the top off of an anthill of opportunity in the Alabama Black Belt.
Yep. When you kick that top off, you better be ready for what's coming out of there.
And Chris, for anyone that may be listening, that is wanting to branch into entrepreneurship of kind of the model of what you have done, what is one piece of advice that you would give to someone that might be listening right now?
I can, and I don't mind telling people a lot of businesses don't like to tell how they start and what led them into that. And I'm not one of those because I do not mind, because I feel like whatever's for you is going to be for you, and you can help somebody else make a change and a difference that can last generations. So I had help, and I like to be a help for other people. So I kind of asked around as to a professional coming and evaluating what we have. So that's the first step. Find out what you have, period. That person should get you a list of things that you can do, what you need work on, and what's there. So I had somebody to evaluate us. Then I started the process of getting my EIN number. So be legit business. And we have to teach our youth to think business like, oh, well, I can't start a business. Yes, can. It's not that difficult. Find what you want to do. You can go on to IRS.gov. get you an EIN number. I think the little fee or whatever, maybe $25 to $30 for your number. And then once you get that number, then you're official. Once you get your number, then you can start looking into, okay, what license I need to have to operate. Then you start to get your business sense and business legs up under you. Now you can say, okay, I can start taking customers or taking visitors. Now I'm to the point to where I'm in the merchandise type phase. So before I didn't just want to start, okay, buy this from me, buy that from me, and you don't know who I am. I wanted to get that touring experience done first. Now the touring experience is speaking to other people that saying they need to come and tour with us. Now I'm saying, oh, okay, now let me start offering merchandise. So now you can, as far as what we're talking dollars, and we're trying to help private landowners make money on their property. Somebody got to pay the taxes on it, and somebody got to do something on it, management, somewhat. So if we can show that we can make money off of, okay, charge admission for coming to visit, you can also have you 4 or 5 items to sell, and you also can do a host of other things that you can start videoing and start getting on YouTube, to where you can start doing some monetization of a channel. So that one thing can lead to a whole enterprise that you can run. And basically, all I have is a smartphone. I just got a new iPhone. Uh, I'm talking to you off of this iPhone and how clear it is. I do all my videos on my phone. So my YouTube channel, I edit my pictures that I take raw from my camera. I put it on my phone, edit it. So the pictures that you see on my logo, that's all I'm doing. So teaching people the business sense, and I really had a great help at the Small Business Administration, uh, a lady on Alabama State campus, and we talked and kind of got that business that she kind of guided me to more business thinking, opposed to, okay, we do have outdoors, I enjoy it, but how can we make this a business? How
Right.
can this to where if I'm going home on Saturdays, I can do 2 tours a Saturday, charge $25 a person. You can come from whatever time you want to whatever time. So that's $25 times how many ever people that show up that day. Then you're offering t-shirts, hats, pins, lanyards. Now you're getting extra. Then you're offering another person, which I want to say my brother, second brother, Timothy, does bird journaling. So now he's on site selling his bird art that people are buying. So now not only am I getting people paying me, I'm getting another person business. I'm getting them money based off of just the simple fact of coming. So the the possibilities are so great that people do not mind paying, and we have to get that out of our mind. Oh man, I don't think I can charge that for. Yes, you can. Trust me. The people that come and pay, they don't mind. One guy like, well, I just wanted to see, I'm coming 6 in the morning. That's kind of early. I had to get up at 4. $30, is that too much? And he said, I'll be there. So, and you cannot see it from that other person's side. So just try to think more business sense. If somebody asks me what I think, I should tell people, think more business terms, and also set up your property to where it makes it easy on you to do it. When we have major events, I have my wife, my dad, he's there, my siblings, they come down and we all help. So it's a family run business, and it's seasonal. So if I know that there's a group of 8 that's coming Saturday, I can handle that. But when it's a group of 50 or more, then I'll call in everybody else. So uh, the way we can handle that. And then also bringing in your bed and breakfast. I have a great friend of mine, they call her AC Reeves out of Selma. She has a bed and breakfast at Woolworth Loft that I've had some of my visitors go stay with her that previous morning, then come the next day to come bird with us. So we're kind of making our own economy. So the whole hotels, the food, and Miss Pam can speak about the fooding trail. That part comes in a lot too. So, well, I can go and eat at this place that I saw on the food map, and then I can go bird. Then I can go see the Civil Rights Trail. So you're making a weekend where people are coming, spending money in these rural areas, getting their economy up and going, and getting constant streams of money coming in. So I just use birding as my umbrella, and everything else that up under it is just icing on the cake.
Yeah. That's a perfect example of businesses helping one another, which is what I would say Pam and I are both. I don't know. That's kind of like the core of what we're wanting to accomplish is you help raise up one business and that helps all of them by effect of that. So that's great.
You know, I'm from North Alabama, as you all know, and there's an organization there called Alabama Mountain Lakes Association that's been in existence now for 50 plus years. And the whole area, 16 counties, and that whole area up there, which includes Huntsville, the Shoals area, Scottsboro, you know, all of those areas up in North Alabama, they all work collectively together. There's no, this is my region, that's your region, you go do your thing, I'll do my kind of thing. It's all about cross-selling. And when I moved here to work in the Black Belt region, I said, if there was ever an area anywhere in the USA that needed that model of collective advertising and promotion, it's the Black Belt, because it is so rural, and because the chambers that are in existence in these Black Belt regions are small staff, small budgets, and it takes all of us, you know, to work together to make something happen. I mean, a prime example of what you just said, Christopher, you know, you take in the birders, but they go to Selma to overnight.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's just amazing. It's just amazing the opportunities that we have that's been right in front of us for so long, and we spend so much time fussing and fighting, we don't see it. And thanks to Christopher, he has, like I'll say it again, Christopher, you have kicked the top off of the anthill, and I'm gonna watch it close, and I think you're fixing to see a lot of people come to you for advice, and I'm not talking about. I am talking about the Alabama Black Belt, but this Alabama, the whole state of Alabama has a diversity that's second to none in the nation. We have a diversity that we just do not use as an economic tool. I've never seen it used like it is now. And thanks to people like Pam and Laura, and now you, Christopher, people are beginning to see what I have seen for a long time, but have never been able to get across to people. And I want to thank every one of y'all for being here with us today.
And I like to echo kind of how I came across Ms. Pam. I had it advertised and came in an email that I visited somewhere, and they was talking about a trails and tourism workshop. And this was in Demopolis. And me and my dad, and I told him, hey, let's go to this tourism thing and see what we can learn. Because we were just, I just got it up off the ground, and I'm like, how do I navigate tourism? What do I need to say? How do I need to market myself? And that's where I first heard Miss Pam at. And then it kind of clicked when I reached out to her. And like I said, lo and behold, now we have this communication that it started from that. So those workshops really did come into play a big part in what we're doing, because I didn't know half of that stuff. And I tell people that, they say, well, you're avid outdoorsman. Yeah, but I didn't look at it in the way of a eye of a tourism department.
You took it for granted because you've seen it all your life.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't out the ordinary thing to see bald eagles and other birds going over. Like, oh yeah, I see them often, but people like, oh, I've never seen that before. And I had one lady from Atlanta. She came and toured with us. One of the Black Birders Week, and she found out about us from my Instagram, and a lot of them started following us. And she came down and she got her first bald eagle that she saw that went overhead, and she just said, oh my gosh, this is my first time seeing it. Got pictures of it. So it's like what you're saying, the things we're taking for granted, or the things that it's not a wow factor for us, but for somebody else, that's what we're trying to get across, is that you can find something on this farm, whether it's looking at some kind of plant life or mushroom, and like I said, and that's more things that I haven't even explored the depths of what we have. I'm just scratching the surface. So I'm still reaching out to professionals. I had the gentleman from the Wildlife Federation. He came and was giving us pointers on how to track certain wildlife. So I'm still learning. So I just think more landowners find out how to get this thing going. But it still takes being a people person. I don't think, well, I know I wouldn't be as accessible if my personality didn't, if I couldn't convey that to other people. And that's another thing, that like what Laura said, and Ms. Pam said, trying to get people to man these stations and man these areas. Like, I wouldn't have a good experience if I went somewhere and I'm trying to bury, and they like, hey, you on your own, you do whatever you want to do. Pay me X amount of dollar. I see you 2 hours.
Yeah.
Well, I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, to put it in street terms, what you're saying, Christopher, this is business. It's not a hustle.
Right, right. And people that been following me for the past couple of years, and they even say, they was like, man, Chris, I remember when you first mentioned that you was gonna do some touring and stuff like that. And he said, it is amazing what you're doing right now. And I just said, I'm doing what we've always been doing. I'm just opening the doors and letting people in to see what we do. But like you saying, it's not a hustle. We're gonna do this stuff regardless. And Dad, he mentioned this Wednesday to Sally. He was like, "This is not a job. We having fun down here.
Mm-hmm.
Have the operation so that it's basically a one man operation to handle the cows. We have about 70 head, 60 to 70 head of cows. I come into town to help tag, give them shots, probably 3 times a year, and then the farm takes care of itself. So it's nothing too vast that we can't be that personable. And I think we lose a lot of people by not being personable. Uh, but like you're saying, it's just what we do. I'm just inviting people to come. So yeah.
Well, and Chris, the whole, I would say this, how this whole interview got started to begin with. Last week, I sent Big Daddy a screenshot of your post on Instagram because I was already following your account, and I said, Big Daddy, we've got to interview this guy. We've got to do it. And then immediately afterwards, we get up with Miss Pam, and then bam, within an hour.
Within an hour, we had this set up.
So, but that's a perfect example of using social media as a easy, free marketing tool. If anybody has a business, I encourage you to use Facebook and Instagram, because that helps people like Miss Pam with Alabama Black Belt Adventures and myself with the chamber, where we can share all that content, because if it's not already there, it's extremely difficult to just create content for businesses, for everybody. So great job, because you've covered social media really well.
You have.
I was on a Zoom Sunday. No, it was Saturday. I was on a Zoom with the Agriculture Network, and what they invited me to talk about was farmers getting into social media and making social media work to your benefit. And I just basically tell people, you got to get good quality pictures, you got to get good quality video, and you have to make it to where you're staying in the face of your market that you want to attract. So if I know I want to get a hold of the bird people, I'm taking the best bird pictures. I'm doing some kind of bird video. I'm putting out a story, whether I take a picture of a bird that landed on the bird feeder. I'm getting that content out, and content makes it easy. That, like what you guys asked me, hey, I need a bio. I already got that stuff written up, already set aside. I got everything already ready. So when people ask, and I always like to say, you have to take these opportunities seriously. I don't like to turn opportunities down. Like when y'all reached out to me. I'm like, yeah.
Whoa.
I don't opportunities down because this opportunity may lead to somewhere down the road that when somebody say, hey, I saw you on Getting Outdoors, I want you to come and speak to my group, or I want to bring my group of young
There
kids
you go.
Yeah.
that may not even had never stepped foot on a farm or know anybody that has a farm. Now you tell me that, and like with Miss Sally, 10 minutes out, you see a newborn calf. I mean, how many people can stand there and get a picture of a newborn calf, still wobbly, still wet, and the mom's right there, and you can experience all that. I mean, not many places will allow you to do that. So
And you need to reach out to and these our local public and private schools needs to add this to their curriculum. I think it needs to be some type of outdoor curriculum in all our schools in the rural areas. It really does, because it's just like forestry. It needs to be included. These kids now, they go up and down the road and see a track of timber cut. They don't know what's going on. They don't know anything about it because it's nobody in the schools to teach them.
and the good thing that in my career we do classroom in the forest. We've done the water festival in certain schools, and that has been our arm out to those kids to show them different things. That classroom in the forest, when we had a guy that brought in pelts from different animals. So you're teaching animals. I had a guy that was doing the bird charts. He had the bird cards. Another guy, he even had a net that let them go fishing and bring in certain. So these things can be packaged up, and I mean the school systems. And I was working with Mississippi State University on a barn owl box project. I was working with the University of Alabama to get down in the water to see what kind of aquatic life. Uh, and then the local school systems, the Demopolis school system, Hale County, Greensboro. So those things were already in the works until the virus came and kind of
Yeah.
met. So now I'm trying to recoup with those school groups, but as far as individual people, I mean the tension is just coming and coming. So that's one thing I would like to start to see, to put feelers out there to those school groups that we are COVID. Uh, we adhere to all those, the socially distanced, and we have masks for everybody. We have hand sanitizer, and once we get you to your area, there's plenty. I can put you in one place. I can put another person on the other side. So I can put you anywhere on the property where you may not even see another person until it's time to get back or me to come pick you back up. So I just want to make that known that that's been the only change that we had to kind of regroup. This was back in February, and all my school system stuff dropped because they had to cancel. So now it's like, okay, regroup. How can we make our place still tourable and make sure that people feel comfortable in touring? And that was one of the things. Well, offer masks, offer hand sanitizer, offer to take people if they want to go one person at a time. We can still do that because we have a gator that we can take you and drop you off if you just want to go by yourself and not be around somebody. So be flexible is what I learned.
Connecting to birds and nature tours. I'm going to put all that information in the details of this podcast, with your website and everything. And I'm fixing to give you a business tip that you need to start working on right now. Build you at least 100 bluebird nesting boxes before the 1st of February. You'll sell every one of
Well, got my pen, but write it down.
them.
Funny that you mentioned it because we are currently in like I said, my social media page, I put way more things on there than most people. But we were sponsored by the Alabama Audubon to do a chimney swift tower, which we started construction on it, that will be installed on the property. So we have a swift tower that's going up that will be ready when those chimney swifts start showing up. And it's stuff like that that I think, little stuff like that, can help just put more events, because now I can do chimney swift night. I can do chimney swift something and make 4 or 5 events based off of that. So yeah, I'm working on that, man.
The sky's the limit. Pam, thank you so much for joining us today. I couldn't do this without you and Laura, I promise you.
Well, thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Laura, thank you too. Always.
Yeah.
Me and you a team, girl.
We are.
And I'm buying both of y'all lunch in Camden. If both of you will come join us one day, we need to all sit down and brainstorm.
Shall do.
All right. Thanks,
Anytime.
everybody. You've been listening to Christopher Joe with the Connecting to Birds and Nature Tours in Hale County, Alabama. And thank y'all so much, man. I wanted to do about a 30 minutes. We've gone an hour. And I believe we could do another hour. I really do. Thank y'all both so much. I really do appreciate it. And y'all stand by. I'm going to end the YouTube broadcast, but don't go nowhere.
All right.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.